Hey, I decided to start doing a series on healing in Albion Online. I am a new player to this game and thought it was a good idea due to the excessive amount of time to start doing some of these MMOs that are a bit more grindy but maybe have some more niche ideas and things in them which sounded pretty good to me. For instance, the ability to mix and match any armor and weapons you like. I'm completely new to this game, other than I've been playing it for a couple, for the last week. But I've already quite enjoyed the combat. It's a bit clunky at times for healing. Targeting party members can be a bit of an issue sometimes. But it's been pretty good so far, and it's been challenging enough that I don't just have to sit there and cast a heal every now and then. I actually have to actively watch out for when allies can take a lot of damage, dodge enemies a lot, and defend myself quite frequently. I seem to draw threat pretty efficiently with some of these abilities, and get myself nearly killed on a regular basis because of it. But whatever, that happens in a lot of games, especially if people are actually dying quite a lot. So one of the best things about this game is the ability to mix and match armor components. So right now I've just gone for the basic. I don't know what's good and what's not, so I just went straight for standard cloth armor sets. I don't have any special equipment other than the adapt cleric sandals, as this these as this set gave me the blink ability. All the other ones have a lot of like movement speed boosts and immunity to sort of hindering effects and things, but during the expeditions, which are essentially dungeons, I found you can't often react quickly enough to some of the dangerous abilities that the enemies use. So blinks seem to be the best one. I mean, it's a 20-second cooldown. You just go, now I'm over here, which is fantastic because you can kind of do it as soon as you finish casting your heal or something, and you just go nope and teleport out of the way of everything. And then I've got a this particular staff. This is the Redemption Staff, and I picked it. The main differences between the staffs are this third ability here. So if I quickly go into this, sorry, one parry staffs. So for instance, this one has a instant cast big heal, which does certainly heal a lot if they're on low health. It's like your life-saving ability. This one has a channeled heal that removes debuffs and movement repairing effects. This one's an AoE, it's an AoE heal over time, which knocks enemies back, which I think in most games knocking enemies around is more disruptive in PvE than it usually benefits people. I mean, unless there's a large group channeling abilities and things, I'd imagine it would interrupt all of them quite nicely, and heal's not too good. Then we've got the Fallen Staff, which has Salvation, which is kind of like a burst AoE heal which removes debuffs and things. It's basically a massive AoE cleanse. The healing is really strong. However, my main experience in doing expeditions and stuff has basically been the DPS pulling threat from the back and somebody from the front, and then everybody's everywhere and taking wild amounts of damage consistently, and you never end up being able to keep all of them alive because they're just taking too much damage. So I ended up picking this, which has a 160 heal that bounces 10 times. Now, it's inconsistent because it only jumps between targets randomly, so you have no guarantee that the bounces will actually be going to the right people. However, it's generally the case that players at the front melee ranged allies will be standing close enough together and far enough from your team that you can almost guarantee it will bounce between them. So, and those are usually the players that are going to be taking the most damage, unless your guys standing at the back take too much damage, deal too much damage and start taking threat. And this is the main sort of advantage of this game. So, you know, you can choose what equipment you have. You can mix and match between cloth, leather and plate. So this morning I realised that so the current cloth robes I have they're just the basic ones, like that. So it gives me this defensive ability. Now that's not very much armour or magic resist. It's a reasonably decent effect. It slows people, affects damage. I think this is more likely for PvP, as the AI, you're probably more likely to die to ranged AI, and the armour this gives and the slowing them out is kind of irrelevant. And of course this item by itself only gives you 95 armour. I believe robes give you more magical resistance than physical armour. Blind, there we go, right. Let's check. Oh no, okay, it's not far from it. So the robes gave me 112 magic resist. I maybe would have assumed that light armour would be protective more for magic, but so in this case, because that defensive ability isn't the best, I decided to look into using plate armour. So not only does the plate armour, so let's pick this one for instance, 224 compared to my this one's giving, yeah, so it's double the natural armour, and a bit more, but the defensive abilities you can get from them are actually really strong. So you can standardly reduce incoming damage by 5%. You can also apply a debuff, which reduces mobs' natural maximum health. I'm not sure if that's common between, yeah, that's a common one. Obviously you don't want to increase your threat again. You can reduce your resistance to movement and parrying effects, which as a healer might be quite useful. But the standard ability is really strong, so this is more of a tanking one, and more likely to be a PvP one by the looks of it. But let's go, this one, yeah, look at this, right? So it's a channeled ability that reflects 50% of all incoming damage in a radius. Okay, it decreases my resistances, but increases my allies, and if I use this at the start of a fight, I can kind of position myself in between the ranged people, the melee people, and they're going to take almost no damage. I mean, the armor resistance is on top of reflecting 50% damage back. The enemies are going to die faster, and we're going to live longer. And then I can follow up with heals afterwards. I think this one's another good one. Yeah, increases resistances and healing received. Just drop that on the floor every 50 seconds, and everyone gets healed more and dies slower. What more do you want? This one's quite nice as well because it's constantly restores energy, so if I'm careful enough I can, in the middle of a fight, just drop it down and steal energy from everyone. There's a lot of really potent abilities. This one knocks back enemies. Yeah, so oh, I think this is the one, yeah. So this gives me an aura that reduces the damage enemies deal by 60%. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Like, if we're in a boss fight or we're surrounded by overwhelming groups of enemies, then that's gonna pretty much stop them from doing any damage whatsoever. So yeah, that's my main reason behind all of this. Anyway, so in any case, I found that it's pretty good to look through all the items and armor and stuff. So I mean, there's even bonuses from you can get crafting equipment as well, which is pretty unusual in many games. Let me do this and see if I can find it. Should be. Here we go. So you can get from your crafting skills. Okay, the secondary effects are going to be increases the yield, but some of these buffs and things are incredible. Yeah, there you go, just a flat out 1000 health shield for 8 seconds that increases your gathering speed, but then it explodes dealing an AoE damage. I mean, you know, if you're not playing a healer or anything, that might be pretty potent. And it's got reasonable armor and magic resist, so it seems pretty good to me. Anyway, I'm going to queue for a dungeon and carry on from there. Okay, so finally got into a dungeon. Just waiting for some people to come in. Some people are relatively patient in these and just tend to wander off and kill shit sometimes, so got to be ready for that, but most people can handle it themselves. So same as pretty much all MMOs, you know, you've got your tank here, the DPS roles. Doesn't necessarily mean they have the right skills and stuff. I think it only lets you choose the right role if you have certain types of armor or weaponry. I'm not 100% sure on that. You may be able to queue as a tank without actually having any abilities. But in any case, most people seem to be, I mean, this guy seems to have playing quite a long time. But yeah, so I've got standard shield that you can spam low energy costs, which is energy mana in this game, but same difference. And it's quite nice if you cast it 4 times in a row, it deals like a small explosion of healing, which can be quite useful. One of the difficult things I find in this game is clicking on people doesn't really work, either in the portraits or not. You've got to guarantee that you've actually selected the right person sometimes, which can be pretty irritating because it's a challenging situation. And then second hill is just a challenge hill that gets pretty stronger. So you can see this guy killed somebody and he's taking a lot of damage. As soon as anybody other than the tank gets fragged, tend to take a significant amount of damage. They just did 300 damage. I mean, okay, that's 2 flash heals, but that's quite a significant amount if it happens 2 or 3 times in a row, or multiple enemies hitting at the same time. I understand maybe something more to watch, I don't know, I love it myself, but some people just don't know. Some people just like to watch enemy health bars go down, to watch out. Shit, see this guy's a bit of damage. So this beam is so much. And then these guys extremely something to do like this. Okay, it's not, always healing them, but it did enough. I mean, it's kind of all there is to this at the moment. Self-healing, we have ult. Really important things. Very useful. One of the cool things to being a healer is predicting see, I'm about to be hit by a charge of gravity. I was going to say, I hit my defensive ability just a second before it was going to hit me. But he died before he got this guy. I'd say he's about to take damage. Regen after combat, finding misleading people where it's like 50% health. These guys seem to be pretty good at interrupting enemy abilities and things, so sometimes when you do this you get about 400 red circles and cones underneath you. It's pretty much game over if you get hit by all of that effectively. These archers have to go straight to the shot at that one. So it's only me and him standing next to each other, I'll just do that. Taking damage. That's a really nice thing about that. You can use it on the right enemies. There we go, that was pretty straightforward. If you do run out of energy, you have a channeled relic so you can get it back during combat and stuff. It's not too much of a big deal if you lose a lot of it. See, I'm trying to heal that guy. I kicked him a few times to him and it doesn't. It's always easy to use this, but sometimes you think, oh, I'll just click on him to heal him. Never 100%. Especially when this is the case, just let me rank up. Virtually impossible, to be honest. Oh yeah, you have that points in dungeons as well, which is quite useful. Dying is not too much of a big deal either. You do lose a lot of item durability, which can be quite costly. Money is still not. I guess it can be easy to acquire money in this game. I mean, you can literally just go out and grind core base resources and things for a while. That's my bad. This guy stood right next to everyone else that's taking damage. That was one kill. Like before, I only had single target kills, so healing that would have burnt all of my energy out. I would have been probably the best. I would have to be healing more efficiently or trying to tell my teammates to actually move. I believe this maybe someday I'll find a DPS hybrid build of some persuasion. I'm not sure it's so weeks or key abilities which make up do are to weapons. So I imagine it will be relatively challenging to find item sets which are able to be MMO for its well-timed ability. You find enemies would have all these like cones and squares and stuff appearing that you had to dodge, and it was a highly reactive environment. You couldn't stand still in that game. Yeah, I only got hit on the very last Allies definitely have a habit of running these but yeah, so WildStar is a very, very similar thing. It had kind of, it was like mini games built into dungeons and stuff where you would this is a boss. Not really much I can say about this one. He just kind of auto attacks someone's death, and then it resolved to battles and things. And that was it. I quite enjoy this kind of stuff. I mean, this is like the lowest level, and I'm already not struggling, but it's not an easy job. It can be quite challenging. I mean, if I was playing with people who didn't know what they were doing, then I'd be a bit screwed. Because people can go down in an instant in this game. But yeah, and then you get, I mean, it's a fair amount of money. You actually usually make more money from the drops in the dungeon than you do from the end result, usually. Even if you got nothing at the end, you'd still probably get about 4,000 or 5,000. Oops. And providing you know, sometimes you get like tier 4 bits of equipment. I think I'm pretty sure the equipment is as high level as the whatever expeditions, but the dungeon that you're doing. So you've got that, right. So yeah, the expeditions. So I was doing a tier 4. I was assuming that you get equipment based on the tier that you're doing, and it does tell you whether you meet the average power requirement and stuff. Now I can do tier 5s now, which is great. I'll probably give those a go at some point when I've got a bit more used to the game, and at least replace these with tier 4 stuff, because I definitely want, there's a piece of plate armor that I'm definitely going to try and go for. One of the main things, so say I had the money for the plate armor, it doesn't mean I'll be able to use it, because you still need to be you still need to actually kill creatures to unlock the next tiers. So that's not too challenging. Essentially, if I were to put on some 2-tier plate armor and then join an expedition, I'd probably get so much reputation from just my teammates killing stuff that I'd probably rank up, maybe even to the next tier in that dungeon. And if I was proactive about it, I could, during the dungeon, equip a tier 3 piece and then progress that as well. So leveling sort of fighting skills, the ability to actually use the equipment, isn't too tricky. You may, if for instance you were changing your equipment entirely, you'd probably struggle a bit. Especially if you change your weapon, you'd probably have to drop down to the lowest tier of expeditions to actually be used to your team, I suppose. Like if I were to right now go for like ranged weapons, I'd be bringing a tier 2 bow or crossbow or whatever they are into the dungeon, which probably wouldn't be very powerful and probably do more damage with my holy staff, to be honest, which does actually have a damaging attack, which does 300 magic damage. So yeah. Anyway, that'll be it for now, and I'll sort out my equipment, get high level variants of everything, and hopefully be able to show even high level dungeons.